What's up, everyone? Here, it's another episode of Real Talk with Ben podcast, and I'm here with a good friend. I haven't known him too long, though.
No, it hasn't been that.
No, it hasn't been that long. So, give us your name, sir.
Oh,
What's your name?
Ricky Rodriguez.
Ricky Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah, it's very exotic.
It's
people like to say the last name.
Well, it's exotic for us that are in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because...
Also for myself, since I really don't speak Spanish anyway.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun fact about Ricky. He doesn't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I'm a third generation
Puerto Rican, right?
Who just doesn't speak the language.
You don't speak the language at all?
None.
Like, can you count to 10?
Yeah, I can count to 10. I can ask where the bathroom is.
Uno, dos, tres.
And then that's about it.
I mean, I took 1 year of Spanish in high school.
Oh. I know when they talk about food, then they have my undivided attention. I can kind of pick those out.
That's because that's just a classic Latino thing that would be talking about food, right?
It is.
Just food.
Yep. The magic word is chuleta.
Chuleta.
That means pork chops. That means somebody's making pork chops.
Pork chops.
Pork chops.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So my question for you, well, actually, if you are new here, listening, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching on YouTube, because, I started YouTube because that's what my dad wanted me to do. He's like, put your podcast on YouTube. That'd be a great idea. Because then they can ask for reactions.
Is that how your dad sounds?
That's not how he sounds at all. It does not sound like that at all. No. So if you are listening, go ahead and 5-star that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And then if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Anyways, but I know for Ricky, where are you originally from, Ricky?
I was born in the Bronx.
The Bronx.
So I say, I say
the
that.
Bronx.
Yeah.
So how long did you live in the Bronx?
So
That's the question.
I think we moved when I was 5.
So you moved when you were 5.
We moved when I was 5 to Colorado Springs. And then from Colorado Springs, we went to Southern Florida. And then I went back to the Bronx for a year when I was 20. And then I moved back to Florida. And now I live here.
So Ohio. How did you get to Ohio? That's my question. Because I know that, because I've known you, because Ricky goes to my church. So I've known Ricky. Oh, how long have you been going to our church? What, a year now?
No, it will be 3 years.
3 years?
At the end of...
That just shows you that I was in college for a solid 2 years while he was here. Because I don't think... We never really crossed paths before I came back from college.
Right.
And then I saw Rick, and this is the thing, our church is it's different because you have a lot of older generation. You have a ton of little kids, but then you have families in their 40s
right.
and some in their 30s, and then there's me. There's
it's very true.
Me.
It's true.
It's me, and I'm at age 20, almost 24 still.
Is that it?
Yeah, I'm only 24 almost. But that's the thing, and it's weird. So I didn't really know Ricky until I came back, and I remember asking mom and dad, I'm like, who is that? Because I notice when people have not been I've been to going to church for my whole life,
well,
so I know when there's new people.
I kind of stick out.
Considering it's basically all white at our church. There's one other couple that is Latino, and that's it. Victor, that's it. Him and his wife, that's it. And then there's Ricky and his white wife.
Yeah.
So it's just it's Ricky. So, but I remember seeing Ricky play.
And my white wife.
Yeah, your white wife. Sounds terrible, but interracial, we love it.
Yes, there it is.
But this is the thing, because I saw you, I believe, play up with the piano.
Right.
That was the first time I saw Ricky, and then I kind of got to know him. I think we've just crossed paths because of Donny.
Yep.
Because Pastor Donny, you all know, there's a video of us on YouTube playing soccer with little kids and running them over. It's a great video. Go check it out. But yeah, so that was something I remember first meeting you. And then we really, I think, started hitting off earlier than actually only about 3 or 4 months ago when Jared and I started our other podcast, the Bros Knows Podcast, and we joked about it with you, and you're like, yeah, what? I'm thinking about starting a podcast too.
Yes.
And then you had a long trial. But you are, if you do go to our church, there's a new podcast that's out. What's it called?
Calvary Call.
And what do you do on the Calvary Call?
So we talk about everything that goes on inside of Calvary.
Yeah.
And just the broader church context.
Yeah.
In our community. So we talk about a little bit of everything.
And so I think for anybody, you don't have to go to our church. I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine too. Yeah. If you don't want to go to our church, that's totally fine. I mean, it's one of those things too, where it's I know there's a lot of people that listen to this that probably have no idea who I am, and that's fine.
We don't care who you are, Ben.
But that's the thing. And so what, because I know like it was funny before we were recording this, we were actually at a coffee shop. We were just talking about him doing the podcast for Calvary Call, and like how it's funny how sometimes it's just funny how when you want to do something and you're really passionate, because we're both very passionate about video.
We should be careful.
We should be careful. And that's why I'm being very cautious the way I talk about this. But it's the idea of like, it's that this can be used as ministry. And I think that's something that I think there's other ways to use ministry. I think sometimes we get stuck in and all of us, I think we get stuck with the old school, like go to church, and we forget that there's a lot of young people and even just other generations that want to hear it in a different way and want to hear. Because I think, we all can go to Calvary and hear the message, but for you guys to break it down and talk about what you're doing, I think, have you felt that already? Even just the couple episodes you've already done, like you think that's going to help people see it in a different light?
I think it will. It just depends on if they give it the time, because it's so new.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to find our rhythm of what exactly
people want.
This is going to be.
Yeah.
But I think it would help. I mean, we have discussions about Sunday morning, about the mission and vision of Calvary, about the larger community inside of Bell Fountain. So I think that it will catch on if people would just give it a quick listen. I mean, there's a couple of people that have listened and liked it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's on, what is it on? Is it on?
It's on right now. It's on Anchor. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's on Pocket Casts. It's on.
Yeah. And I actually, sorry for all you that wish it was on Google Play. I should probably do that too. Just an Apple guy. Sorry. But yeah. And I think, when Ricky and I were talking about, I think we've bounced ideas off of each other for a while now. And it was actually funny. We walked in here and he's like looking at all the stuff. And I tell people anytime that you want to do something, you don't have to have $80,000 worth of equipment.
Yes.
You don't. And like, I think, because I think that's one thing Ricky and I were realizing is like, you can simply just have like a mic in the middle of a table and just talk about what's on your heart. Yeah. I just personally like it to sound a little bit better, but that's just my perfectionism in me, and I just want it to sound better.
Well, I just wanted to get something out.
That's true.
As soon as possible.
And what's I think that's too, like, one thing that I think that's really interesting about Ricky too is like, I don't know, his enthusiasm for like, it's funny because his enthusiasm for like things at church, because it's been hard, because I'm like, obviously I was only young people for a long time, even when I would come home from college. And I think it's really cool to see, I don't know, like Ricky and just like it's just cool because there's now more younger adults, which is something that I'm not used to. I mean, you guys are in your 30s. You're so young.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Doesn't feel like that every morning.
And I think for you even too, like, I don't know, you could probably bounce ideas off this too, but like, it is a little different when you're like, you're not, like for me, especially because I'm not married, don't have kids. And it's kind of weird when people are like, hey, you want to come hang out with us? I'm like, y'all are married.
So
it's still weird.
Come hang out.
It's still weird.
We're still individuals inside of the oneness of marriage.
That's true. And you know what's also cool about Ricky being on today is it's one of my last episodes before I get another country.
Hungry.
I know, right? Did you know where Hungary was before I had to show you on?
I had a rough idea. I couldn't find it on.
So we were like looking at this globe that's in our house, and he's like, "Where are you going exactly?"
I'm 31. You know how long it's been since I've looked at a globe?
You
know how long it's been since I've been away from school?
This globe is legit in the middle of our house that I just see it all the time.
Oh, look, a globe.
A globe.
It's been a long time since I've had to look at a globe.
I had a professor at college that collected globes. It was creepy. You walk in his office, there'd be a new globe every time we'd walk in. I'm like, this is weird.
Some people go crazy for globes. Some of them are expensive. You can sell those things. Yes.
I know. Like, have you seen the glass ones that are like glass and they have a light inside it? Oh, that's just, I'm sorry.
It's
just, that's like me with technology though.
My
I buy
wife
so
likes
much new
globes.
stuff. So is that where you're going to get her for birthday?
No, it's too predictable.
It's
now that this is out there, I can't do it. So
that's true.
I'll probably get it for her like tomorrow.
Just get her like a small one, just a nice little, like a little glass one.
Yeah, because the dog will just break it.
That's true too. Oh, speaking of dogs, we were talking about this, didn't we? So we were talking about how I lost. You all know that I lost my dog a few months ago. Sad day.
Months ago.
It was only a couple months ago.
That's recent, man.
Yeah, it's recent. It's tough.
How you doing?
It's tough. I miss my dog Cooper, but he was so sick though.
What kind of a dog was Cooper?
It was a Shih Tzu.
A what?
A Shih Tzu is a Shih Tzu Poodle combo. He's the cutest dog in the world, though. He's the cutest dog in the world. He was cute. Maybe I'll pop a picture up for the YouTube people. He was adorable. But then he died. So terrible. But your dog passed away, right? Mm-hmm. And then now you've got a new, which by the way, he got a puppy, which y'all need to.
I don't recommend puppies.
Puppies are not for everyone.
So yeah, Bella died. She was a corgi. She was a real fluffy fat corgi.
She was a corgi?
She was corgi. She was getting old.
Is it corgi like a, it doesn't have like, is it like, it's a small short dog, right?
So corgi means dwarf dog. So they have really short, stumpy legs. And they're a herding dog. So they like to herd cattle and stuff like that. So they're high energy. So Bella died, and then now we have Eevee, named after the Pokemon, whatever. And so now we have that's my geekness coming out. My wife allowed me to have. Oh, thank you.
Pull it closer.
My wife let me name her Eevee. So now we have her. She's 16 weeks old, and I don't recommend puppies for people who don't enjoy getting up for almost just as much as you would a toddler when you first get them.
I don't want to experience a kid before I have a kid.
Wait until they're like 3 or 4 months old. They're still a puppy, but they're a little bit more manageable.
Peeing everywhere?
She's pretty good. Like we have her confined to a pen when she's in her space.
He legit got a camera and was staring at his dog before we were recording.
I had to make sure. You never know.
Just legit, like, I'm like, that's just a little overdone there.
No, because if she breaks out, then it's like, I gotta go. Because she could die. There's, there's kitchen stuff. There's, she can eat something and choke.
A knife could just come down her head.
But she puts everything in her mouth. She's a puppy, so I don't want her to like find a pen cap and swallow it, and then I come home
dog dies
to a dead 16-week-old puppy that we just bought.
Explain it to your wife,
right? Well, she'll see it too because she has a camera.
She'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of been fun because Ricky and I are kind of the same thing. We love this kind of stuff. And as many of you know, I did radio. I don't know why we love this.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, I did radio.
I don't know. Should this be as vain as I feel like it should be? Like, we have a camera pointed at us with mics. And we're talking.
This is my thing, though. It's the same as when people like do the streaming on gaming and they play games for hours and they stream.
I watch some.
But I know, like,
if they're playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'm watching that.
I'm watching it. But my thing is too is like I was telling him was like when I did radio for college, like I missed it. So like I didn't do radio after I left college about a year. Really, I didn't do it as much my senior year. So like for about the last 2 years, I hadn't really done any radio, and I missed it.
Right.
And so like what I was like just thinking about, like my brother's like, dude, we're just so goofy together. We should do a podcast. I mean, we were joking about it. And then my brother's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm like, sweet. So I did that, and then I was just like, and then I remember we had talked about, because we were talking about, and you had actually had a different plan to do a podcast, and then it got switched. Now it's the Calvary one.
Yep.
Which, let's be honest, for any of you out there that think making a podcast is fun, but it does take a lot of work.
It does.
It's for the editor.
It takes a significant amount of, no one knows what goes on behind.
No. And that's what I like to tell people is like for a video, I mean, not as much for this video because it's just direct, but like if I'm creating a video for like a wedding, it's the same thing. Like it takes months and people think it takes 3 days. And it's like, do you go to pay for what I don't do? So I don't have a job. So like, I'm not just doing this on YouTube. I mean, if you give me 1 million subscribers, maybe I can. But that's something that I know that we enjoy to do too. Because it was funny because I felt like you're the only person I know outside my brother that loves this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. But he also loves Nintendo. He's wearing a hat right now. It's Nintendo.
It's my Nintendo hat.
Are you?
I wasn't planning on being filmed though. Like this is the hat that I normally wear everywhere anyway.
He's totally, you're like a Nintendo, like you love Nintendo.
Oh, I'm a fanatic. I love Nintendo.
You're like addicted to Nintendo.
Yes.
But what is your favorite system of all time? Because there's a lot of systems.
My favorite system is the NES.
Really?
Yep. I love the NES.
Did you like Nintendo? Mine's Nintendo 64. I will always say it's Nintendo 64.
Right.
There's not the satisfaction satisfaction I get of blowing into the cartridge.
You do that with the NES.
But it's not.
That's where that comes from.
Wasn't as big though, right?
Yeah.
Was the cartridge as big as the one in the system?
It wasn't as fat, but it was longer, right? It was longer. No.
I don't know. I just remember playing with my cousin for the very first time. And we played Mario Kart. I was about maybe 10 at the time. And I remember him just blowing it. I'm like, what is... And then like when I got older, I was like, this is amazing.
We're not supposed to do that though.
I know.
You're not supposed to blow into it. But everyone does it.
That. Yeah, like
everyone does it though. It was a universal thing.
Didn't Nintendo say something about like don't blow into these?
Yeah, it had
and then everyone's like, screw it.
And that's what we do.
And we're like, you know what? It's part of the nostalgia.
Because it worked though.
Well, I guess it did work. But I will say I did have a Wii, which the original Wii, not the crap Wii U, because that was awful. That was awful. I don't care what anybody says. The Wii U was terrible.
It was pretty bad.
The Wii, go on the Wii U with the little tablet and you play the games and you could have like a tablet with it. Right, which was awful. I loved the Wii because, I mean, Wii Sports was legit. When I played as a kid, I loved Wii Sports. Like bowling, I was amazing at. Baseball, I was absolutely brutal at.
No, I didn't like Wii Sports.
I did like Mario Kart on the Wii with the steering wheels.
Yes.
Oh, dropping them red shells.
Yes.
So, but you love. What's your favorite right now?
The Nintendo Switch, dude.
Which I don't have, which I'm semi jealous right now.
300 and get it. Plus the 64 a game.
Did you really?
No, or $60 for a game.
Well, you could have used one.
I know, but AAA games right now are going for like $60.
So what is your go-to setup for Nintendo Switch right now? Like, what's your go-to?
I play on handheld. Oh, what?
Yeah, like game and like, do you play a handheld or do you put it to your TV?
Mostly I play handheld. I put it in the dock once in a while if I'm playing like Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. But right now I'm just still stuck on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Super Smash Bros. I remember as a kid, you get on the Wii and you're like, screw it.
Well, because you can play online.
And you could just mess with your friends. It's like the one way you could beat up your friends without actually beating them up in person. I think that's the only reason my mom let us play.
I suck at the game. I'm the one getting thrashed by 12-year-olds from like Zimbabwe.
I was the one that would play with Mario just to tick people off because he's the worst character in the game.
No, he's not. He's really good. If
Kirby
you know how
was my dude, though.
Because he does this back kick that once he does it, he gets behind the character.
This is also coming from a guy that's terrible at...
I'm really good with Banjo and Kazooie. But Mario does this back kick that allows him to get behind the fighter and then kick your butt. So if you're not paying attention, he gets behind you and you're done.
My go-to for a long time was Kirby, mainly because I annoyed people because I would just float. And so I was really bad early on.
You're one of those.
No, yeah. So I would never get last place, but I would never get first place. I was always like in the middle.
I hate Kirby.
I love Kirby. No. He floats.
No.
And then you could suck his powers out of people.
Banjo and Kazooie and Cloud.
What's the black and white character? Loved him too.
What?
There's the black and white character that's just black and white.
Mr. Game & Watch?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't remember the name. Listen, I don't know all these names.
I'm showing my age.
You're showing your age.
31, but it's Mr. Game & Watch.
Did you ever have the because you had Nintendo 64, right? At one point?
I still have it at home.
Do you still have it? Did you play oh shoot, what was that game? There was I can't remember now. It was a great game, but I can't remember.
I know, it's a great game.
It was a great game.
I'll never forget that game.
But Mario Kart, though.
Mario Kart.
The original Mario Kart, I tell people, is still the best.
Mario Kart 64.
With Rainbow Road, which I'm awful still at this day.
Well, I still try to jump off and get to the bottom track. You ever do that?
Still try that?
Oh, yeah.
I never could do that.
It's fun.
Gosh.
007 GoldenEye. Playing on
That's the one I was talking about.
Playing on paintball. Or just playing slaps.
Is so good.
Where you just walk around slapping people.
I love those games because the graphics are absolutely abysmal, but they're so much fun.
I hated Doom.
Doom 64, was bad. I hated it.
Because it scared me as a kid, but I'd still play it anyway.
Because you were that kid. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's for kids now.
Well, they have it for the Switch now. Doom 64
and
for
which
the
you're
Switch.
Not wanting to play.
No, but I've been thinking about getting it, but I have to wait till like next year because I spend too much on games. So right now it's...
You're legit like an 18-year-old and a 31-year-old.
Oh yeah, if it's on sale, I'll buy it. And I'll play it for forever.
What does your wife think about you and your game?
She doesn't mind it. She has Facebook.
Wait.
She has her Facebook.
Where does Facebook?
Facebook is her video game. Everyone has video games. Facebook.
Wait, why is Facebook? How's that relatable?
It's all video games. Like, so when they make fun of me for my video games, it's like, yeah, but you sit there and you scroll for hours on Facebook. And I'm playing my video game.
That is true.
I don't have a problem turning off and putting away.
See, that's the thing is I am a PS4 guy now, and I play 2K way too much.
What's that?
2K,
Which
like
that?
Basketball.
Oh, no, that's not
I love sports games. Like, I can whoop anyone. If I play, like, Call of Duty, I'll get whooped. I'll straight up get my butt whooped.
Suck at Call of Duty.
I'm so bad. I can't do the whole... I don't know how they do the quick triggers, and, like, I have to go around and, like, find the guy. They're, like, quick scoping me. I'm like, how does that...
Zach and Anna, we went over to their house for dinner once, and he has an Xbox, and we played Call of Duty.
It's ridiculous.
Online. I didn't get one kill in the hour and a half that we played. And they make fun of you.
And I hate when people are like, you're terrible. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a little 12-year-old.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, they're like cocky.
I just murdered that guy. It's like,
he sucks.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
The worst is like when it's like you, Like I remember when I first played Call of Duty the very first time, which would have been one of the original. Like I'm really good at World at War, which is one of the first Call of Duties, like the World War II one. Very good at that one. But then you get all these new guns that have like these like bazookas on their guns, and I'm like, what is this? Like,
You should play Call of Duty Mobile.
that sounds too many. Like my
It has
battery.
an auto shoot. All you got to do is aim.
They've created that for all the crappy players. That's what they've created.
It doesn't
for.
matter. I can play Call of Duty.
Did you ever
when
get into
I'm
Fortnite?
in the bathroom?
Did you ever get to
Duty.
Fortnite?
What?
Did you ever get into Fortnite?
So I have it on my Switch. I downloaded it. I
hate
learned how to
Fortnite.
play.
I can't do the building thing.
So
I can do the shooting thing. I can't do the build.
Once you get a hang on
the building stuff.
the building, then it becomes fun. But it's still so I play Battle Royale. I will not play like the legit.
Oh yeah,
Like
no.
you go in and then once you're dead, you're done with the match.
Yeah, I hate that.
No, I won't do that because there's 14-year-olds
They're making millions.
making. There's a kid named
10 million.
Septic. You ever look up
Yes.
Septic? It's insane. Like $6 million. Like
I hate it because it's like, oh, that's gonna vibrate. Sorry for all that. But no, I was looking up this. I saw this shoot. It was on Facebook. It was a video that just scrolled up. And it was like what teenagers now are making. Like I remember when I was a teenager, I worked at a paper out. I made like $100 like a week. Now these kids are playing games and they're making $300 like a day. And I'm going, and then like I will say this though, someone said this is kind of funny. It was a YouTuber that's a gamer, and he's like, and people said that my mom said I would never get anywhere with my video games, and look at me now. I'm like, you're also gonna have terrible eyesight when you're like 40.
He's a millionaire though.
I know that's the thing though. It's like they're making.
I want to
bank.
become a millionaire and
I wanna
retire and not do anything.
I want to be the guy that just reviews tech and just makes millions with tons of subscribers.
Dude,
Unbox therapy. Legit, I want to be that guy.
My favorite YouTuber, beat 'em ups. You ever?
Yes.
Woodhawker. He's amazing,
These guys just do this,
and he
it's
reviews
like,
Nintendo like eShop games, and it's
Have you also
insane.
heard about these kids, these 6-year-olds that do unboxing toys?
Oh yeah,
They make this girl from South Korea
6-year-olds.
made $6 million in a year. I couldn't make $6 million if
we're
I
too
tried.
late. We're too late on the game. Like we
Yeah.
need to jump on the next thing.
I mean, maybe the podcast will get like 7.
No, but podcasts have been around for forever.
That's true.
So it's
And I'm not
we're-
a celebrity, so it's like not
But
Ben
neither
Shapiro.
are these YouTubers, really. I mean, it's just
They
like.
start out. Well, this is the thing: is like a lot of these YouTubers.
Did you just say Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What, What
I
was
don't know
he
where that
in
came
reference
from.
to?
I don't know where that came from.
I'm not a
Anyways,
celebrity like Ben Shapiro. Is that
he
what
is
it
kind of a
was?
celebrity.
Yeah, kind of.
He's kind of, but
But
anyways.
when I think celebrity, I don't think
That's
about
true.
Jewish guy Ben Shapiro. That's not what I'm
This is the
thinking.
thing, though. I was thinking about this the other day. Is that
Why would that even come to
I
your
don't
mind?
know.
Okay, sorry.
I've been watching too many videos.
He's really good though.
He is good. One thing I will say though is that some of these YouTubers have been doing this for like 15 years, and it took them 10 years just to even get recognized. It was like one video that shoots them off, and I think
I don't want to do that for 10 years and hope
that's
I
the
get-
thing. Is like, but the thing is like with teaching, like me being a teacher, is I can do this stuff, and like because
Right.
obviously I work during, and like the summer I'll have other jobs, but I'll have more time because I have the summers off.
Right.
Or even as a missionary, like going overseas, like I'll have the nights to do this and that sort of thing. But I always tell people, my purpose for like this podcast specifically, and I've talked to you about this, and even my YouTube channel is the idea of ministry and the idea of using it in the sense of this is for like God's glory type of thing. And like, I love to have fun. Like you all know, especially if you listen to my brother and I's podcast, you know that we are never serious half the time. And that's what I love. Like,
Right.
It's the idea of like people think, and I don't know if you can admit to this, people think Christians are just like, they don't like having fun. I don't know what it is. Like I have non-Christian friends that literally think we don't have fun.
I have Christian friends. I think I
Yeah,
like
I'm
to
like,
have
they
fun.
think like, I'm like, no, I love having,
I'm
if you
not
get to
very-
know me,
I'm not fun.
you're just funny.
I'm not. I know.
You're dry funny.
I am introvert extreme.
You're only introverted though when you don't know a person, I feel like though.
No. Like the rest of today,
You'll go home and
I will go home and not leave the house.
see, I'm opposite. There's maybe 2% that it's introverted.
I would rather not deal with people.
See, he's met my
half of the
dad
time.
and me, and I'm pretty sure that my dad and me in one conversation with him would overwhelm his circuits.
Probably.
Because my dad is, if any of you know,
Sunday morning is a very hard day for me.
yeah, and my
There's
dad,
so many
and he
people.
knows this. My dad will come over and talk. He talks to everyone. my dad.
Your dad's cool, man.
Yeah, I love my dad. But sometimes I'm like, Dad, there's some people that don't want to be talked to in the morning. Like he talks to them like they've been up for 7 hours. I'm like, Dad, they just don't want to be
No.
talked to.
We just we're late already to church.
They're always like either they'll come in like during singing and they'll like slowly like sneak into the pew, and I'm like, okay, this is all right. Hey, Ricky.
It's just.
And he'll usually give me like is it called a dap? Is that what it's called?
It's our life, man. This is what we do.
Anyways.
I don't know. What?
Is that a dap? Is that what they call it now? Like you
I
bring
have
it,
no idea what they call it.
Okay, I don't know.
I have
okay.
no idea. I don't
I
know.
thought there was a term for it. Maybe. Sorry.
I think there is, but
sorry, I'm
not qualified to tell
You're
you the
only
definitive
qualified
answer
on how
of what-
how you're a Puerto Rican, don't speak
I'm
Spanish.
not even qualified for that.
Can you like
My family
do you call
will tell
yourself
me
a
I'm
Puerto
not-
Rican? Do you call
When people ask me what my ethnicity is, I'm Puerto Rican. Like my
do they ever just
family.
go to like speak Spanish? You're like,
I get spoken Spanish to a lot. People assume because my grandparents are from Ponce in Puerto Rico. So they brought my parents over to
Do your
New York.
parents speak Puerto Rican?
They
or
grew up.
Puerto
My
Rican
parents.
Spanish.
My
Puerto
parents.
Rican, really.
Part of their growing up was in Puerto Rico.
I would see the Hungarian thing because like
Right.
when we were in Hungary, my dad's learning Hungarian. Like he's a lot farther than I am.
Cool.
People are always like, "Oh, do you speak Hungarian?" I'm like, "Yes, I learned the third hardest language in the world in a year." Yes, no, I'm learning it. Like it's like one of those, and that's the same thing. Like,
Yeah, but I'm not learning.
but this is the thing. Like the reason why I'm learning it is because like I don't want to force people like to speak English when I'm
in their
there.
own country. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's the same thing here. Like, I don't mind if you speak your language, but like English is the predominant like everywhere you go. Well, depends.
Oh, sure.
Depends. But it's like when I go to the country, I don't want to be like this American that doesn't want to speak their language. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like when I go shopping over there, it's gonna be really hard because it's gonna be like need bread, sandwich, bread.
Don't you dare ever do that.
I know. I'm probably getting so
That's
offended.
so.
You guys didn't see what I was doing, but it's a good thing you didn't.
Yeah, that's.
But okay. Anyways, we're gonna get off that topic. So Ricky, what has been? So you've lived in Ohio how long now?
8 years.
8 years now. So what has been like one thing? Because I know like your testimony is amazing. Like it really is. Have you grown a lot since? Because you got saved when your age? What age was that when you got saved? It was in 20s?
It was I grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
So it was just around. So it's always really hard but early 20s.
But like, yeah, and then
2021.
So what would you say, like, since you've gotten saved, you think that you've grown a lot in that sense of becoming more of a mature Christian, you think? In that?
It's a yes and no.
Yeah.
It always is a yes and no.
Yeah.
Because there are seasons of growth.
Yeah.
And then there are seasons of nothing. And then there are seasons of growth again.
Yeah.
So I think probably the most growing I did was about 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And that would have been your first year at church, like a full year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what have you like? I know you love music. I know you play piano, right? And that sort of thing.
I play.
I mean, you play.
It's not my like.
Yeah. But so what is some of the things, especially like with the cool thing about, I think whenever I talk about it, and you guys know this, like when I had my dad on, when I had my buddy Jordan on, and then my other two coworkers, they all shared about like how God's really impacted them, like how what they love to do is because of what God's put in their heart. For you, I know you love just I know like I've seen you love just hanging out with people and that kind of that fellowship type of personality that you have. Even though you are introverted, I think there still is that fellowship type of personality. What would you say to those people that? Because I think we all see them like, kind of like are afraid to kind of, be with other, open up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm an extrovert and he's an introvert, but it's still, what would you say to those people that kind of want, they want to be involved in a church,
Right.
or they want to be involved in a Christian group,
Right.
but they're scared to open up? And I think what I've learned, and you can kind of bounce off this, is that sometimes you have to be vulnerable to see growth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's not optional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes I have to think that way. Like this is fellowshipping with other Christians is not an optional command to follow.
Yeah.
That it is a command. So it's people, law. But yeah, it's a command and it's there for a reason. So it's one of those, there is no real growth without the church either.
Yeah.
Without being completely connected to a local body, fellowshipping with other Christians, learning from other Christians. That way they can learn from you and the sharing of gifts. But opening up is hard. And it's one of those, like, you don't have to open yourself up to every single person in your community, and you find one or two people that you trust that you can be vulnerable with, and then
and that's probably helped your faith too, like you're growing. And I think that's helped all of us. I know for me, like, like when I've opened up on here on this podcast, I tell people
this is a different animal.
Yeah.
This is just weird. This is strange. Right,
strange. Anyways, when I open up on the podcast, I tell people too, like, people do it in different ways. Like for me, I'm more of an extrovert. So for me, it's just one of those things where I enjoy sharing, because people don't know, but like when I started my YouTube channel, it was because of a deep, dark time that I was going through. And that was my way of kind of making sure I was at least trying to get over it and stuff like that. But for you, what has been one thing in your Christian walk that has been something that has helped you get through tough times, but then also consistently grow and mature in your life?
Confession and repentance. That, because you can read your Bible all you want. You can, those things. But if you're not open and honest with someone, you don't go anywhere. So if you're not being honest about where you are, you're just lying to yourself, and you're lying to other people, or just another person. So having a relationship with someone that here's where I'm at, like I need help. So I think that's probably the biggest one, is confession and repentance. And
I think that's something that, like, I think sometimes as Christians we're not willing to humble ourselves and say, hey, I screwed up, God. And I think that's something we grow on and change. And I know, like, for me, like, legit, like a week from now, I'll be in Hungary, which is
that's crazy,
super weird.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like, ministry for me is not just, yes, it's sharing the gospel. It's sharing the gospel in ways that God has put on my heart. The idea of sharing the gospel with, through video, through podcasting, through sports, because I love sport. I mean, I'm addicted to sports.
No, you love PlayStation 4 sports.
No, I love sports. I love real sports.
I was checking.
I love sports.
Because I'm not a humongous sports guy, but like every time you talk about sports, it's always your PS4.
No, I love sports. I love sports. So, and that's the thing. It's like, but even like video games, like that's what a lot of young people, that when you're sharing the gospel,
that's my whole community.
Yeah, and but that's what's so cool. And I think I hope that people get from, anything that, like, that I do, and even what you do is like Christians can have fun. Like, there's that weird stigma that Christians don't have fun, which I don't know where that came from sometimes, because it's not everyone. I'm not putting everyone on the bus here. I'm not trying to, but it is. I mean, I get it from Christians, non-Christians that are like, you guys don't like to have fun very often. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do fun that's against God. Like, I'm not, your fun and my fun might be a little different, but I think it's cool to see, like, I love, like, cause I think for the Calvary Call, like you're talking about your podcast, that's one thing that it took a while to get going. But once it's gotten going, it's allowing you to be, open with your co-host, which is both our pastors, and kind of be like, hey, this could work. This might work.
Yeah.
And
it's fun.
It's fun. Like, I enjoy this. And I know for you, like, the one thing is when Ricky gets on something, I feel like he just it just keeps the ball rolling, and you want to keep getting it to where it's more.
Sure. Ask my wife that question about, like, home stuff. We'll see if that's true.
No, but is that like what, like, you would hope that this for Calvary Call would keep?
Oh yeah. I don't like to be involved in something that's not
continuously growing
or important enough to keep. I mean, we talked about that because growth is such a weird word
that weird.
Christians use, and then
I'm growing.
You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah.
It is weird. I will admit, like, that whole term, when I was in college, they would use a lot, like a lot of the speakers at chapel, because we had chapel 5 days a week, and like legit it'd be like 3 days in a row, but they would use it in a different context,
right? And
so you're always like,
with church, it's the one that I hate. When, like, anytime people ask, is your church growing? It's like, always in reference to numbers.
Yes.
So it's like, so they're really asking, are you getting more people?
Because that's not necessarily the thing that you look at. It's the idea of, is your church speaking one on what the Word of God says, and that just what it says is what it says, and then spiritually, is your church growing? That's how. I know that's how we're taught at Cedarville. We view the church. It's not necessarily, you can have 10 people in your church, you could have 6,000, but if your church is stagnant. And like, that's one thing that we even talked about with, your podcast and the Calvary Call, and the idea of like reaching out to more people, not just our church.
Right. because no one in the area is doing it,
and that's why I think it was such a key thing.
Which is interesting. Like, there's not. I mean, we have, Shine FM and other Christian radio stations that do something.
But it's different, though.
It is different, but there's not really a local church ministry.
And they have a limit to what they can do.
Right. I mean, another church ministry might have, like, a radio thing.
Or, like, a video update.
Right. So, it's not like we're doing something on new ground, but it's just no one else is really doing it. So we wanted to do it to get out in front of it, to provide something for our local church and then the around area.
Yeah, and it was so cool because it's even like what you said. Like we had a newsletter called the Calvary Call, so it's not something that's a term that's out of the, you know what I'm saying? Like it's Donny, not a term that's a new term. It's like, okay, people can relate. Okay, that was about what our church is doing, so now we can apply that too. It was very
smart on Donny's part to name it that, because we're honoring something that was so integral to the church.
Believe it or not, a name is very hard sometimes. Like, for me, because for those you don't know, and like I don't know if I've told you, like the base of this podcast is not, it's Real Talk with Ben, but it's not always about me. It's the idea of real talk being the conversations, the ideas. That's why I like
your humility there.
I try.
It's not all about me.
I'm trying not to, but sometimes it's no one else wants to come on, so it's about me. But that's the thing, like and the name is something that really catches people, right. And when you already have someone relatable, it makes it easier.
Yep.
And I know for you guys, it's always funny because when they originally told me that they were going to start one, I'm thinking, all right, how is this going to be done?
We have no idea.
And legit, I get a picture of them, and they're legit around this table with a camera that has a mic, but they're not using it, just the mic that's on top of the camera.
We have the mic plugged into my cell phone, and it goes straight into Anchor. That's how one microphone plugged in to my phone, and it works for right now because I'm laying some foundation of trying to step up the game just a little bit.
Because I was even like, I looked at that, I'm like, guys, I love you, but guys, come on. Like my setup is definitely a little over.
But let's talk about your setup.
Okay.
You are a single 24-year-old male who has money.
Yes. So this is
like, you're
actually,
not married.
I don't have money.
We have wives.
Listen,
so
I don't have money. I don't have money. Well, I have.
That's worse. You're spending money you don't have.
I semi have money. But this is what's funny. If you look at my setup right now, like legit, we're sitting here.
It's minimal.
It's minimal, but it's definitely a laptop, a mixer, microphones, and some lights and a camera. Like it's. And honestly, all of this legit, I probably like everything, not including the computer because that was too much, and not counting the camera, the computer. Legit, all of this was under like $300, which for all of this is actually pretty impressive, considering you could spend on a Shure microphone like $600 per microphone. Like, sorry, not paying that much money for a microphone.
No,
and I will say this. You don't need a lot. And I said this at the beginning of the episode, you don't need a lot to do a podcast. You don't. But if you want something that people aren't going to be like, because I don't know what.
How do they do that?
I don't know what do people do?
Yeah, okay.
That thing. Because there are people like I know that if I'm listening to something, I hear that I'm like,
true. It's true,
and that's why like and it was an investment because it's something I can keep these for years and years and they'll be fine.
Right.
You would think at a church though, with the amount of microphones that we have.
It's new.
I'm just saying the amount of microphones you guys have.
We are barely past the allowance of this podcast.
Legit though, I am like 12 episodes in.
Yeah, so we're
been doing this for 6 weeks.
We're just starting, and I really wanted to start as soon as possible and not have
it being
the lack of things.
Or this is what it is.
Yeah,
because we both know this. You can say you're going to do something, but until you get that episode out, because that was the thing with my brother and I.
That's exactly why.
We talked about it for a month, but we didn't do anything. We were just sitting there, and we're like, we have to either do it or it never get done.
It's life. It's the same thing that we do with life. It's like, I really wish that I would do this. That would be so much fun, and then you just don't do it.
Yeah, and so for me, I started this, because like I said, I did radio, and so my YouTube channel is the Bowden Experience, and it's overlaying really everything I do because I put my podcast on there, I put my other videos on there, I put my wedding videos, so I put everything underneath that because the reason why I did Bowden Experience, and you might not know this actually, it's called, my slogan's kind of faith, family, fun. It's combining all of that, and it's the idea that the Bowden Experience is seeing the ministry of God through my eyes, and it's not. And that's the cool thing is like, because like on this podcast, you guys have heard me talk about some really serious things, and you've guys taught me about fun things. Like, and that's the kind of thing that I love about a podcast is you're not limited to what like a radio station says. Because when I worked with radio, we were limited. Like we couldn't talk about some things. I'm like, but here you could talk about things and be open about it.
Right.
And I know that's what's great for a church podcast. You can be like, hey, look, our church is struggling in this area, and I don't know if you'll talk about that stuff, but
I have no idea.
He's just like
that's why
this
there's
way
a
you have
pastor
two
Mark
pastors
and a pastor Donny,
and you have Ricky.
Yes,
it's like the pastors and the pawn. It's
no, they're the pawns. They don't know. No, but no, that's why it's really great to have Pastor Mark and Donny because they help kind of formulate the content. So we come up with a bunch of episode titles, and then they're like, we probably shouldn't talk about this one. And it's like, okay, cool. And I'm more of the stickler with, I'm like, we probably shouldn't joke about or talk about
and that's
these
what like
things.
that's my problem because you all know I'm very sarcastic, and there's times when I'm on here, I'm like, probably should have said that.
But that's why you're the editor too. You can just take it out.
Yeah, but I like it to be raw. They kind of get it all what it is.
See, I can't be raw with ours. There's too much.
There's too much. Okay, y'all don't know Donny and Mark. You put all three of them together, it can be.
There's too much stuff that I have to take out. Put down to like snorting noises and.
Oh, I love that. That's just real. It's real.
It's gross. So I have to edit it.
There's actually one podcast. I believe it was my brother's or mine. I can't remember. And legit, you see me like I thought I got out of frame of like me wiping my nose.
I keep forgetting that this is being filmed.
Yes, and so I'm like in frame, but I'm like
gross.
Out, and like you just see my tissue. I'm like, well, this is whatever.
No.
Actually, to be honest, I know that theirs will never be filmed because I know this dude hates being filmed.
It will not be filmed.
And there's a reason why it's being filmed.
Unless there was like a legit space for it, and
because Donnie's office is too filled of.
He has terrible
lighting.
Like. Not the lighting, you can fix that, but it's the vents.
Oh, those loud air vents in his office.
We had to move. Yeah, we had to move to a different part.
That's like
and it's so loud
so
and
weird.
Editing that was not. That's why I put that noise gate in because I couldn't isolate it. So it was.
I love how everyone's like, "You guys put editing stuff." Yes, that's what what we do. People think that you just record something and then like I legit have it through a mixer through another program.
See, we haven't gotten there yet.
That's true, actually.
There are mixers available. I'm trying to work up to that, but
yeah, mine is I like it though. It's simple.
Yeah,
it's simple, and
super
like
simple.
I tell people too, like the nice thing about this setup is I can take this anywhere. Like I don't have to have it also because if you have a studio and you have all this like big mic stands, like you can't take this everywhere. I can put all this in a suitcase when I go to Hungary, and it all will fit.
Nice,
and I never have to worry about it.
See, that's awesome.
And so,
but see, my cell phone does the same thing too.
Whatever.
On the go.
Cheapskate.
Heck yeah, free.
Not free. You had to pay for it.
Yeah, but I already have it. Everyone has a cell phone.
Not everyone.
Almost everyone has a cell phone.
But I will say this. One of my favorite. I love how your wife is texting you right now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
She loves you, I bet.
Probably sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh, that is. Okay.
I'm difficult to live with.
Well, I'd be difficult to live with too.
You're single.
Thank you for making me feel even more every time. This is what he's been today. You're single. You don't have to worry about it. Single. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I actually do save money though.
Married people are concerned about their spouse. Single people are concerned about
what?
Things of the Lord. That's Paul, man. That's Paul. Stay single. Buy things you want because when you get married, it has to go through a process of, hey, would it be okay?
No.
But then you come home and there's a package that you didn't buy.
Oh, you call it.
My wife never does that. She tells me, but it happens.
That does happen. I've heard stories. Actually, there's a prank my buddy did. He's married, and he had a whole bunch of Amazon packages when he was in college. He took all the boxes and filled it with styrofoam like peanuts and put them in the front step, thinking that he bought a whole bunch of stuff. And it freaked his wife out. And yeah, it wasn't. That wasn't probably the best idea. I'm sure he got in trouble. I would have gotten in trouble. That would be something I would do. I would do. I did. Whatever. Anyways, but no. Ricky is one of those guys that I've gotten to love to know. I wish I wouldn't be. It's funny because I was in college for 2 years, got to know him for about 6 months, and I'm leaving for Europe. It's like I didn't really. We never really like because you came in obviously when I was in college. And I obviously was in college. and then you came, and then we got to know each other, but I tell people, if you're not a Calvary person, you want to listen to Calvary Call, go over and listen to it,
man.
It's for everyone. It's not just for people at our church. It's something that obviously, once again, where can they hear it again? Where can they hear
Anchor, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. So basically the major.
Yeah, so just go in and type in the Calvary Call. Same with like this, like how you guys found this. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, it's been a great. I love Ricky and just his heart. And it's honestly, if I wasn't leaving for Hungary, I legit thought there would be a chance that we legit probably be doing a podcast together.
That'd be
would
fun.
be surprised if
That would be
when I
fun.
come back, if there's a.
Well, hey, through the Anchor app, we can do it.
Yeah, but then it sounds awful, and
No,
me.
it doesn't.
I don't like the sound of it.
Yeah, but do what I do. I record it on Anchor and I just download it. I put it in my DAW, I edit it, and then I put it back in.
Whatever.
So you can do that.
We might do that.
That's easy.
But I will say this.
That way you can be on the Calvary Call from.
That's true. I
Hungary.
did say that I might try to make a brief.
You should make a guest appearance on the Calvary Call.
Actually freak them out. They don't know I'm on, and they just randomly have me come in. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'll just interview you.
Huh?
We'll talk, and then the episode will just come out, and they'll just be what?
Wait, what do you mean?
They weren't involved in that
I edit stuff.
decision making process.
But no, so it's go take a listen to that.
Nice.
And also if you guys want as well, make sure you guys are following on all the platforms that I have this on. So I have it on Anchor as well. Spotify, as you guys probably know, because you might be listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you're new and you want to see the video versions, or if you just want to see other videos on YouTube, going over Bowden Experience,
Great.
like, subscribe.
The Calvary Call will not be videotaped.
We'll see.
Videotaped.
We'll
It will
see.
not be whatever.
Videotape? What are you, from the 1930s?
I was born in '88, bro.
Videotape there.
Everything was VHS.
Also, why do I sound... Oh, that's...
and cassettes.
I guarantee half the young people don't even know what cassettes are anymore. I know what they are because there's still some over there in the kitchen. But
Nice. The Bible on cassette.
the Bible.
I saw that over there.
Odyssey. There's an Odyssey.
Yes.
Remember the Odyssey as kids? Oh my goodness. But no, I loved. It was funny when I remember when I was like, hey, I have a week left, and Murky's like, hey, we should get together. I'm like, and I was thinking in my head, oh, we should totally do an episode, podcast. So, so this has been a great episode.
Yeah, man.
Been a great episode. Legit, I could talk to Ricky for hours, and no one wants to
I
hear
could
that
talk
for
to me
hours.
for hours too.
That's
No.
that was a terrible segue. And so, so
But you won't edit it, so there it is.
that's true. Actually, there's a lot of things I don't edit that I wish I would have edited off
That's
of.
very concerning
but
for my
yes.
part.
Anyways, thank you for being on.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thanks
it's been
for having me.
Yeah, it's been a great time. And if you want to have any ideas of what you want me to talk about before I leave, or even while I'm overseas, let me know. I would love to talk about some ideas, mainly because I feel like when I get over there, I might run out of ideas. But
You'll need some stuff to do.
I will. So, anyways, it's been a great time, and it's been real on Real Talk with Ben. We'll see you next time.
Nice.
Bye-bye.